I'm going to turn.
Cher's
Complete darkness swallowed me whole, broken, beaten, can't take anymore. Body abused, alone, crazy, hiding scars, body parts. Rearranged my child inside, completely gone. I beg for mercy, no more fight. Done, 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 I surrender. Karmic hold slowly releases, I lay still, silent. I can feel, help is on its way this time. I died, I came home, I am reborn. From a golden diamond string, her eyes so kind, her heart whole. She descended from the heaven, pulling a gift from source. She kisses my mouth, she holds out her hand, I take it. I'm ready to be free from suffering. I am ready to live, I am ready to heal, I am safe, I am love, I am soul, I am. Complete darkness swallowed me whole, broken, beaten, can't take anymore. Body abused, alone, crazy, hiding scars, body parts. Rearranged my child inside, completely gone. I beg for mercy, no more fight. Done, 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 I surrender. Karmic hold slowly releases, I lay still, silent. I can feel, help is on its way this time. I died, I came home, I am reborn. From a golden diamond string, her eyes so kind, her heart whole. She descended from the heavens, reaching, pulling a gift from source. She kisses my mouth, she holds out her hand, I take it. I'm ready to be free from suffering. I am ready to live, I am ready to heal, I am safe, I am love, I am soul, I am.
How's it going, everybody? That was our beloved sister, Angie Love, produced by SoulogyOneStudios about 2 or 3 years ago. We're over at Cher. Everybody knows her. And we're going to talk about this. And we're going to talk about that one over there and that one over there. And we're just going to chill out and get to know our beloved sister better. Soulogy's in Sedona. And we're just following the guidance day by day. If these shows resonate, please share. And thank you for the continued love and support and contributions. Thank you. So Sherilyn, what are we going to do today?
I guess we're gonna speak about getting raw and real and blue.
Oh, very
When I
cool.
think about Soulogy, I feel indigo.
Mm.
So this is what I wanted to. He just told me it's you what you want to talk about, but I didn't have any plans. So this is feels perfect. Um,
So, what is it?
it's a soul portrait. It's a portrait of me, and this painting, this canvas, this very canvas here, because this is the original, has four four portraits of me underneath this one. Okay, so let me explain. I've been painting for more than 30 years, until recently, almost literally on a daily basis. And back in 1986, so I did like a period of 10 years not selling my art, but just needing to paint. And so I I would paint all these portraits of my friends, their spiritual portraits, and I found that I loved them more when, after, as I was painting them, I began to love them more, even though I loved them already.
Mm.
And so, what I decided to do, a couple of years after painting all my friends, and I always knew the power of art from that time period, that it had the capacity to heal, just like music, just like poetry, just like, the expression of, and when it comes from experiential wisdom and moments, it's real and raw.
Right.
Well, i I wanted to love myself like I was loving my friends, and so I painted myself on a portrait, and it was pretty, and it was pretty. But the whole time I was working on myself, my inner dialogue was, you're ugly, you're this, you're
Mm.
shit. And I was like, whoa, this isn't what I was expecting. And so over a period of 10 years, I attempted to love myself by painting myself.
Is this 10 years old? The
Oh, this is way
process?
more.
Oh,
This
wow.
the period of this painting from beginning to end was 10 years. And then add me to move to Sedona, and more symbols even more symbols come in.
Mm.
But I consider it like a 10-year period of, so every painting, like I continued to add. I added, like, for the first one was, I was a model when I was younger, and I just painted myself from a photo of one of my modeling pictures, and it was pretty. It was really, really good, and people wanted theirs like that. uh, but it didn't give me what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And so I then again began again, and I did Native American ceremony for 13 years, and serious Native American ceremony, in depth, like morning and night kind of feeling. And I added teepee, and I added, I just added more to it that was more the spirit of me. I still didn't get, I got pieces of it, like, as I brought in more of the spirit of me. I used to eat dirt from the time I was 8 years old until I was 13, and I didn't want my friends to know at 13, so I stopped. The reason I ate dirt, because I wanted to be more like an Indian, a Native American, some kind of memory, more eat dirt.
Mm.
Anyway, so I added more medicine to what was true to my soul, and I loved her more, but I still, like, 4 times, actually 3 times. This is the fourth time, so 3 times over. Pretty, pretty, pretty. And I didn't want to hang it in my house, and I didn't want to sell it. I didn't want to sell me to somebody else, and I didn't think anybody would want me.
Mm.
So I decided, I'm in the practice of recycling and honoring the earth that way. So if a canvas came to me, I didn't care what was on it. I would transform it and bring it into
Mm.
something new. So I decided with this painting, and it was significant at the time because I moved up to, on the one of the shows we did previously, I had moved up to this land in Malibu. And
Yeah.
so my whole shamanic part of me, even though I had been doing shamanic practices in my 30s when I first decided to go into therapy, my whole world opened up. I started to read books on creative dreaming. I learned how to lucid dream. Wham! I was lucid dreaming 3 times a week at least, sometimes 3 times a night. And it was exactly what my exploring soul needed to bring me out of a place of actually literally being in an incredible insomniac
Yeah.
to laying down at night and going, okay, where are we gonna go next? You know, it was like bam,
So it
switch
was like
right off.
you were healing.
Yes,
Mm.
very much so. And so also shamanic journeying came into it when I chose to look into healing myself more in that. I began to work with the animal cards, medicine cards of the animals. And the teacher was very specific about don't read the book, learn it behind.
Mm.
Like, I mean, do your own research into it. And Shanine and I spoke about this, as this is how she speaks.
Mm.
But it's like I would journey with every single animal, and there were like shocking shamanic journeys that I I believe, because of coming from a, a background of child abuse, that there's like a matrix or something that is actually opened up through traveling through those trauma portals into a safe place where then they're really easy to travel.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I found that about myself, and over the years, like as I would dream over the years, I documented everything. And it didn't take long where I could realize that my dreams were actually prophetic, but had I not written them down, I don't think I would have connected the dots.
Wow. Wow.
So
So how did you get to the point where you had the three and then you decided to just paint
yeah,
over it again the
yeah,
fourth time?
yeah. So I'm already doing that, and I'd already had done a year of sweat lodge, so I
Okay.
already had that shamanic thing. And I wasn't trying to do a shamanic thing. I was
Mm.
just, I'm going to start something new. I don't know what it's going to boo.
Yeah.
It's going to be blue.
Hmm.
And I just poured indigo blue over it, and because I have painted on it so many years, the texture was really, it became the lines in the painting, and suddenly I saw a me that I could get down with,
Wow.
blue and shamanic, and then went through yeah, then I saw, then I was like, oh, this portrait is not complete yet, and I brought it into this where I could then there begin to love myself more.
So in painting this,
Hmm.
you actually went deeper in love with yourself?
Yeah, because I wasn't hiding me anymore. And what was interesting, Todd, is that when I came out with this piece, so I've have come from a family of very strict Christian, no angels, no God, no, nothing was like that. And so this is viewed, is still today by my family pretty demonic, if you will.
Well, it's viewed as demonic.
It's viewed as demonic. I mean, my
Mm.
family views me as a little
Well,
bit.
welcome to
Some
the
of them
club.
still
Welcome to
love
the
me.
club. You're okay. You're in good company.
I assure them that it's
So,
not, and that's all I can do. But what happened, I just
yeah,
wanted to
yeah.
share, I had this lady who had purchased a painting of mine, actually the one that you pointed out
Hmm.
in anyway, it doesn't matter, we won't refer back to other shows because it's a little confusing, keep it on track. But she bought a painting, she became a Christian,
Hmm.
and she wanted to trade it for the sacred relationship one that you said, the Garden of Eden.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
so she came up to the mountain, my mountainous studio on raw land, and came up into my heart, my humble studio, shifted the paintings, and she took that one. This one happened to be on my easel. I was working on her. She didn't say anything about it, but and this is really interesting about listening to intuition, because, and I don't even know where it came through. After I was going through a challenging time, but I I really like the next 2 weeks went really deep for me. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on? And I, without knowing, oh, you should use this one. Without knowing, you don't mind. It's a cedar oil. It will help.
Okay.
Yeah. Without knowing, I don't even know this woman very well. I called her out of the blue and I said, "Are you praying for me?" And she said, "Yes, I have my whole church praying for you." And I
Wow.
said, "Please stop." I said, and she explained, "Well, I saw that painting and I thought you were just going into this dark space and I wanted my church to pray for you." And I said, "You, thank you, and stop." I said, "This painting is not about demons or devils or it's about finding my true it's finding a true place within me where that I'm expressed. I don't remember my words, but it was." And she started to cry and, oh, maybe she got a lesson in it, but and you know, things
Yeah.
left, but
But that was part of it too.
part of my fear like coming
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
So, like, how did you start it? Was it with the face?
um yeah.
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 And do you feel like that is pretty close to?
No, that doesn't look like me at all. It used to more look like me before.
No, I mean in the ethers, and like if you look at your.
It's she's it's a, I often look at, and it's funny because I've gone in and tried to change, not recently. I've gone in and tried to change it,
Mhm.
and the face, because I painted it over so many times, for some reason I don't know if that's why, but it doesn't really let me paint anymore. So she's meant to be, to me she looks very, he and she, very androgynous. It's
Yeah.
bringing the androgyny together, the
Yeah.
whole masculine feminine as one, not like one feminine, right? A lot of my paintings are like that though. Pele too, a lot of them, they think
Yeah.
it's a he. They,
Yeah. I thought it was a he.
okay.
What and like
But a deer, do you see
well,
deer?
I was
And I
going to
mean,
ask you.
besides the antlers
Yeah.
in the face, I do. And maybe I'm being suggestive.
Yeah, I can see it.
All
And
right,
that's
maybe not.
and what's the significance of the deer? Is that part of your makeup? Do you feel? Or?
It's the first, it's this first animal that I experienced when I was 4 years old. My dad was gutting it in a kind of hard way for a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old. My brother was with me.
Yeah.
He was gutting it and he was telling us scary stories. And I saw the deer lift its head and jump into my heart.
Wow.
And I actually felt myself move back a little bit. Only as a 4-year-old, I thought I was holding it and keeping the spirit of the deer safe. And so and throughout my life I've had some real profound experiences with the deer in
Wow.
particular.
It's amazing. And then these what are those, like a spiral coming out of the crown?
Yeah, that's the yeah, that's the higher self connection. That's the energy coming in. mm,
And then you've got like the
there's
sim-
some symbols
yeah.
here, like these are a bit,
Are these
for
like
me these feel
are these
Mayan.
are these symbols that you came up with, or symbols that you saw and then put on?
These symbols here, which is kind of interesting because it's very, I never thought about this before, Todd, but the cosmic connection painting that we were looking at, that's over my door, all
Yeah,
those
yeah, yeah.
symbols that came in
Yeah.
after I moved to Sedona,
Yeah.
same thing here.
Yeah.
These symbols, these are very different than them, and yet they're actually not.
I love this piece here. Is that a dove?
It's a
Or a hawk?
falcon.
I was going to say, or a falcon or a hawk.
Yeah, and I don't really know why it's a falcon. That's just what came through. And then we have, oh, this fairy here. Can you see? Yeah, it's a little blurry.
Mm-hmm.
But that happened one night. If you could see it clearly, look at it.
Yeah.
Be witness.
Yeah.
It's like I was working on this, bringing these symbols in, and I must have dropped some light blue paint onto the canvas and not noticed it. maybe my sleeve brushed up against it, and then I went to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
When I woke up in the morning, I'm like, there's a fairy crossing my canvas,
That
which is
fits.
so appropriate.
That
If you're
fits
near
you.
me. Yeah.
Do you feel like you're coming out now? Like do you feel
I'm
like
coming out more.
do you feel like
Yeah,
you're coming out now?
I'm coming out a lot more.
Do you think that there's more and more women coming out now?
Yes.
Wh-
I mean,
Why do you
look
think?
at the women's march. I am, there
Yeah.
every it's really is the rising of, and it's not like the 60s where it was like
Mm,
burn your bra, fight the fight, the we're the
mhm.
woman, it's more we are this. It's like the women today know that it's important for them to raise themselves so that we
Yeah.
can hold space. Whereas years ago, I've been doing this work for a long time, there hasn't been like I actually stepped out of activism work hands on. I do activism work, but at the time, the people that I was marching with or fighting we were. I found that the anger was fighting against
Yeah.
yeah, like
You see a
coming.
difference now? Do you see it?
I'm not involved too much on the
No,
front lines, but
but I mean, you see a difference with women stepping out now, and
yeah,
the energy.
yes, yes, we're all. It feels like well, many of us are stepping out into a scary place.
Yeah.
Even, I mean, not all of us feel it's a scary place. I in particular have, and it's been years of me inching myself out of
Hmm.
the closet, so to speak. And
So, what do you think coming out means in this regard?
like doing this, this
Just
is
for all
coming out
women,
for me.
all women, all women. No, not all women, but this this wave of women coming out, and with all their like I can name quite a few of them that have come on the show for the first time, gone on video for the first time. Have been some are artists and some pulled in other information, and they didn't they've been doing grid work, moving around like you did.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
do you think something's happening? Do you think it's a big part of what we're all going through? An important part? I mean,
yeah, very important. I feel like we're beginning, even you and Morgan being here and meeting all these new soul tribes. There's just this sense of coming together. And I remember, like, I used to do my ceremonies daily for years by myself and didn't ever want anyone to see me. And I remember at one point, and I was here when I was living in Sedona, and I started to call gatherings and play crystal bowl. And I had a partner who would kind of like you and Morgan. He was more of the organizer and
mhm,
the out person. I could hide behind and play the bowl and add my
mhm, mhm.
medicine, but not have to be leading it. So we did a lot of that. But there was I began to connect with a lot of people here in town, and that was in 2002.
Wow.
I met uh, a group of women and ended up taking them into a place near Cathedral Rock, which is very sacred and pretty secret, where the petroglyph and a spiral, and it's very connected to the feminine. And I brought them up there and wept because it's like I was sharing like these prayers and sharing them with women, and we were holding that space together, and I was just it hit me at a very profound place in my heart
Wow.
how important it is to come together,
Wow. That was
the
in two.
power that we
That
have.
was in 2002.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or it could have been 3. I was here, yeah, before I moved to Hawaii.
Wow.
It was a while ago.
Wow. And so now also your part of your coming out is, and I don't know. I guess this is okay. Part of your coming out is you're now going to have people come and kind of understudy or work with
Yes,
you, or
yes,
yeah,
yeah.
you're starting that. So what is that like? Are you like, is there rituals involved, or is it strictly just the techniques of painting, or what is that?
So yeah, I have done painting with people. I have done private retreats with people separately. I've done painting classes with just a small group of 4, and I've done private retreats. I had a retreat center at one time,
Mm,
and I gave everything away, and I kind of just wasn't able to keep it up. And then 6 years ago, I hit a real place of a trauma where I felt it was important for me to stop working one-on-one with people. I did a few groups, I did some ceremonies, but not much. And in this time, like whatever's opening up for me personally, and I think it's opening up a lot for many people, women maybe in particular, but I like to include everyone. I Yeah. So is just it's the universe is okay. Well, just a real short story. I lost my roommate. I maybe was going to do Airbnb, and I'm like, no, that doesn't work, and that doesn't resonate. And I'm like, whew, I can invite people in. I can. So I put the intention out to start doing healing work again, and took some pictures. I sold a couple of my crystal didgeridoo to Ohm Base, so she's going to share it with you, I'm sure, sometime if you're here in Sedona. Um, Valerie Irons, and things that were really deeply special to me, so that I can make this happen. And within 1 week, I was able to purchase really fine furniture, set up the room so it's high looking quality, and then take pictures of that, post it on Facebook, and I already have a client.
Wow.
So it was universe saying that's when things line up like that, like they're lining up for you right now. You know, we're on the right
Yeah. So, and it seems like
track.
a lot, and there's nothing wrong with this because I see a lot of this in the chair that I sit in, but it seems like a lot of the emphasis of your role, at least up to this point, has been with women, has
Yes,
been with,
primarily, yeah.
and that makes sense. What do you see? How do you see your role? Do you think that what you're doing here, where you're starting here and bringing somebody in to kind of go through the techniques and the retreat type of thing? Do you think that's a big part of your role? What is
I
your
feel like I'm
how?
being asked to step into it in
Yeah.
a way bigger way, and I would say that um, there's this I've known for a long time, and why I even stepped into this work to begin with,
Yeah.
is that I have a very, very, very deep well from the experiences, that the traumatic
Yeah.
experiences, and um, and more, but a deep, so that, and this is like what helps me step out of victim, is that there I couldn't feel a more honored gift to hold this space for someone who has gone through trauma. I personally, it took me years until I found someone who could match this and be a well for me.
Mhm.
And so it's an honor. Everyone will come in, and everyone's different. So it's not like I'm going to have a certain program for
Right. Of
everyone.
course. Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's kind of personally
What do you think your magic is?
transforming through the creative expression.
Transformation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and magic.
So you're really like every one of these women. They all seem to be a practitioner, an energy practitioner, a transformer in some way or another. You know what I mean? It's like
Interesting.
it doesn't look like you're a healer, but you're a healer.
Yeah,
To use the old terminology,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Are you finding that most of these women have gone, well, you know what? I think actually, I feel probably everyone on earth has PTSD to one degree or another. Even, I mean, I don't want to make that claim, but um, everyone has. So I lost my track of thought
No,
there.
you were talking about PTSD and probably trauma, maybe even sexual assault, sexual
Yeah.
violation. That seems to be a big part of it, and obviously these women that have, particularly women, because most of them are uh, doing this stuff, 10, 15, 20, 25 years.
Got it.
They're just staying cool.
Yeah, that was my track.
That was a big win to knock that down. Everything's cool.
It is.
What I was saying is, though, it seems like most of these women, is everything all right?
Yep.
You know, they have a deep reservoir of the soul to be able to go do the grid work and, you know, turn away from their families and being labeled an outcast and crazy and all that stuff. But it seems like there more and more of them are coming up and out. And I don't know. I think that the more of them that do, that seems like more follow suit. Is there? I mean, you've been through, uh, you know, very intense experience or experiences, incarnation or incarnations, however you want to put it. What advice would you give to women today, with the energies being where they're at today? You know, October 2019.
Hmm. Well, I'll just say the advice that I give to me is to never give up,
Yeah.
especially, riding a heavy golden brick road through trauma to here. It's not like, it's like I can't ever say, oh, I'm done with that.
Yeah.
As long as I'm here, I'm always going to be working on something, I believe. And I believe in, yeah. So
Do you
never
mean
give up,
right?
and know that as things, yeah. So the law of hermetics has really been a theme these last few days. So, knowing that when things come up and a re-trauma hits and you thought you were through it, be cool with yourself, because you're not going to be through it until you are, and you just got to ride that wave. Our subconscious is so unexplored,
Hmm.
and runs the big part of the show, if not the biggest part of the show. And so my mind thinking, oh, I'm through with that, oh, I'm ready for this, or oh, and and maybe I am ready for that, but maybe I have to go through one more um experience of that so that I can really know I'm ready for it,
Yeah.
so I can walk through that experience once again in a different way
Yeah.
and really shift it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe it's better for us to say, instead of saying I'm through with that, saying I'm through with that, but I'll be ready if it comes back.
Yeah, yeah.
Something like that.
I don't believe we're stuck in it forever. And
So when you talk about never giving up and you talk about you're always working on something, you're working on yourself, inner work, shadow work, um, which is also, this is how you work through it too, is through your paintings, right?
yes.
And your work, your energy work that you do with other people, right? So it's therapeutic for you. Yeah.
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
extremely. That's why my medicine cards have so much power.
Let's
And
let's talk about those. Let's talk about
okay,
those.
is because and literally from um I feel like literally from the get go, I have known that I've been healing myself through painting.
Yeah.
I even went in and, like, to the coffee shop that I go after therapy and meet somebody who was worried about his mom going in the hospital. I'll paint her a healing painting and let that go. Just, I never even saw him again.
Yeah.
It was just I would give my stuff away because I just was giving me a reason to paint.
Yeah. Now,
And
let me ask you this though.
okay,
So a lot of people have, you know, different processes that they use when they get triggered, or the re-trauma, like you said, it comes back, or you're just out of balance. Is this how you? Is this the process that you use?
it's
Uh,
the main process I
that's the main
use.
process.
Yeah.
Do you have any other ones that you used, or is
Well,
it pretty much?
at first in the beginning, it came through therapy, that traditional therapy, which was help, help, extremely helpful at the time. And not, and what I began to do is, it has to be like, I already had a knowing, because today, scientifically proven, and I just learned this like a month ago or two, is that the same place that we create from
Yeah.
is the same place in the brain where we store trauma.
Oh,
And
wow.
so without knowing it, I feel like, working that, and that's what I wanted. That's what part of me, what I inspire, because I do believe that every human needs to be creative in one way or another to find that happiness. But when I brought these through, these are like many of my life's work,
So
and I have more.
are all of these paintings that you did?
Yes.
We're looking at a huge deck of cards here, and there's more over there.
Yeah,
Those
this
are
is my new
prints.
deck coming out.
Oh, your new deck.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty thick deck. I mean, how many is there?
It's
Like
actually 64 in the deck. This
64.
has
So
a deck that
are
survived fire.
are
So
these like tarot cards where um they have archetypes or
they have
themes?
archetypes, but
Okay.
not per se the tarot.
So did you download this? I mean, did you like the purpose of it, how to use it? It just came to you intuitively, pretty much. Or
I
did,
painted them first.
uh
And then at one point I realized I had so much art that I could create a deck, and I loved using cards.
mm,
And so I started to then go then through the painting and name them.
mm.
This would be this. This would be awakening.
This
This would be
is
medicine power.
medicine power.
And
Wow.
I went through and just, intuited the qualities, gratitude. And so many of them. So this one, like I painted this before I was going to call it gratitude.
Right.
So again, I had said I was an activist. Well, I was working with the Uwa tribe down in South America, and I painted this painting to help heal the Amazon and the all trees,
Wow.
and bringing in the green man, but in particular to heal what was going on in the Amazon.
When was this?
Um, Before I moved here to Sedona, so
Wow. So it's been a while.
2000. Yeah, yeah.
Well,
This is my first painting that sold. My first original that
it's got a
painting
severe.
that sold. No, gratitude.
Oh,
This
gratitude.
one
Yeah.
in Sedona at a deal, because I started
Yeah.
coming in 2001 and was doing. Um,
So and so how do you? Wow, these are amazing. Look at this one. It's called Breakthrough. I think it's backwards on there, but
mhm.
you see that? Wow.
Yeah,
These are like, I mean, like
yeah.
even this one, you've got this column, this cone crystal column coming out of the person's crown. How does that come to you? I mean, is it like uh, words and then you put them into a
This
picture?
particular painting came from literally. So we're talking about when I go into a deep catharsis or healing, like whatever. I happen to go into this painting in a pretty big rage,
Mhm.
and I'm like wanting to transmute it or transform it and transcend it into something. And so I get in and I just express my pain, and I like lift it up, I let the paint drip, and then I let it paint this way, and it starts to end up looking like I'm in a prison, and I'm like behind, not anyway, a grid, like an uncomfortable grid. You can't really see it in this. The original's in Chocolatry. So if you're in there, go and check it out if you're in
It's
Sedona.
crazy, man.
But then the next day I come in and I bring in the sage and the paint, and I bring in the healing. And that was like energy coming into the top of my
Mm,
head to help me clear my, I don't know. I've
like you're
never thought
channeling,
about putting words to it, but yeah.
like to create a clear channel.
Yes, to
Like
clear
to
it.
so you had all the rage and that
Right.
was all laid out and then you came in and cleared it out.
Yeah. And
So
then
it's
I go in and I look and I find things,
Mhm.
like I see the lion, and I paint
so
the lion.
based
And
on the way the paint dripped on there, basically, you then go find images so it kind of
yeah,
works with you. Wow.
yeah,
So this is like your paintings when you for you are like dimensional experiences, really. I mean,
yeah,
physical,
yeah,
dimensional, the
yeah.
fusion of the physical and the non-physical.
It's
Do
probably
you
why I
ever
paint like this, because I live
really?
for magic, and there's
Mm,
not, I mean, I've witnessed a lot of magic,
yeah.
not more than I have through my art.
Oh wow. That's cool. What's like the biggest experience you ever had doing a
Yeah,
painting?
I
Yeah.
do. I mean, in talking about magic, I have, because it's like I would witness this so-called magic, which is definition in the Webster dictionary is medicine. So I witnessed this
Really?
magic. Yeah, I try to tell Christian people that so they can mellow out because the magic scares them. Well, you know, come from that. But I witnessed the magic so much to the point where I've used to try to photograph it before and after. And I had a partner in my life, a former partner that didn't work much. And he kind of like would always be around watching me because he wanted to see them. He got it.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to see, and he gave me a whole ton of great pictures that I have in archive of me painting. Otherwise, it's really hard to take a picture of yourself painting,
Yeah, yeah,
especially when you're in trance.
yeah.
But he was like, he would try. It wasn't until I went to England and I was hired to paint the Christ cause at the time is Tanzanite Christ. So I was given, we were both crystal people, stone people, and he gave I used a tanzanite crystal to grid because I like to do that when I paint. I like to bring in sacred water, so I used in the chalice well water. And here I am in Glastonbury, England for the first time. Like, whoa, it was amazing. And I had been commissioned just before that to paint the Magdalene.
Mm.
And so I was like, well, then I'm going to paint Mother Mary too. So I painted them all side by side. But for the Christ, I'm in this, it was a manor, but it just felt like I was living in a castle.
Mm.
And he would be like at his store in High Street in Glastonbury, Stone Age. And he walked in the studio just as I had my jaw dropped on the floor. Okay, so when I paint, I work up
Mm.
and I work down. And I use a lot of water because I really love the energy of water. And anyway, um, so I had all this indigo blue. I'm gonna see if I can find. He's loving the deck.
Yeah, I want to save this
So
one. Oh, what is, you have it in here?
So I
Okay.
had just painted in on the canvas the right side of the eye, and the I don't know. It's so hard to explain, but it the water with the indigo blue began to drip into the other side of the eye and form an eye by itself, the same size as what I had painted already. And Louis walked in, the man who commissioned me to do it, and stood by my side and watched as I was, and he said, "What did you do?" And it was just like the first time I had a witness,
Wow.
like somebody actually could witness it, because I have all these wild stories that like a painted grandmother, and I dream that I'd be wrapping sage, and next morning I wake up and under my, like I felt like I was in Rumpelstiltskin, movie or something, where like underneath my art table, which was an outside studio at the time, outside studio,
Mm-hmm.
stack of grandmother sage from Sundance. And when I dreamed it, because remember I mentioned I'm a dreamer, I thought, oh, well, this couldn't be prophetic because I don't have any sage from Sundance. But I'm going to be painting the grandmother, which is a sacred. So I am going to be wrapping her. And so when I walked out and I found this perfectly packed sage, and there was no paper around it, it was just open perfectly, like, you could think I was a little crazy.
No.
So I don't know. That's a hard one to wrap your.
Yeah.
I mean, not me, but it feels like it. Anyway, to have a witness, there he is.
This is
So
it?
this is
Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't say Christ, but
yeah. So this eye on that side, the one that's all blue, because you could see that's blue, where the water dripped into.
oh yeah.
I brought it into more detail, of course, but
That's pretty incredible.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
very incredible.
Okay.
Do you
So
think
when
that have you ever seen anyone that that paints images like yours?
I think we all paint differently. Um, Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
curious.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
just
So
curious. Like,
years ago,
yeah.
before I started even painting this way, because my style changed at one point. Years ago, I was compared to Susan Boulay,
Hmm.
who did a lot of shamanic work. But even that was structured in the mind. And I used to structure my paintings in my mind, dream about it. Okay, I'm going to paint this. Today, I don't know if it's going to be a whole figure, if it's going to be an eye of him or a face, a portrait
Mm.
of whoever. I follow the lines and let spirit show me, which is way more interesting to me. This
That
one, when magic happens. Oh, go ahead.
that looks like ISIS in the little,
Yeah,
you
the
know.
Egyptian theme is really up
Yeah.
these days. That's a powerful piece to speak about
Is
if
it?
we choose to.
You want to talk about it? Do you think it's relevant right now? I don't usually
Um,
pick up on stuff like that, but after doing
mm,
the show today with your friend Rebecca Magic,
mm-hmm,
and after the last 3 or 4 days, there seems to
mm,
be some type of Sedona,
mm.
Egypt connection. I'm sure there
Okay,
is, but
all
that's
right.
actually becoming
Yeah, well, I can
a
bring
little.
that original out, but we won't put it over there
No,
in the wind.
no, no,
My,
no. Or I can show it to him too. I mean,
yeah.
this is the one she's talking about, and
Oh,
if you
look,
look,
there was two next to each other too.
yeah, if you look down here, there's like a sphinx with the face of a man. To me, I don't know.
Stretched. Yeah,
Then
it's the
there's
Sphinx.
look like Isis or back here at the makeup table, and then this being here. I mean the
I know, but this
this
is better.
yeah, that's cool. We'll just put it right here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you can see it, we'll see.
I can
And then you
lower it.
can show both. If it works, it
Yeah,
works. If not, then the card is
hang on.
good.
You
No,
just
not
turn it.
really. I can hold it though.
Put no, turn it that way. I mean, just push it over that way a little bit. Hang on. We're okay.
Okay.
It'll be good.
Okay.
I'll pick it up if I need
Yeah.
to.
So
There
when
we
I
go.
was living in Sedona when I brought this through, but I want to step back just a bit. Back when I lived in LA, I did my first breath work shop where
Uh-huh.
I did holographic breathing for 2 hours. At the time, I was like, I don't even know if I can breathe for 5 minutes. But within 5 minutes, what's his name? James. I call him a galactic healer. Anyway, he I within 5 minutes I was inside the Great Pyramid, and we had done this work before, and this whole vision of a golden bird came down with a long beak. Later, after, oh, and speak of the holographic, I didn't want to stop breathing after 2 hours. It was the biggest trip without drugs that I have ever done, ever. It was phenomenal. What happened was during this time is I began to this Toth, because I looked him up, and
This is toast. This here.
yes, I didn't know it. So my intention actually in bringing this through was to bring through the energy of the goddess. I didn't know it was going to come through. It was just meant to be, intended to be the energy of the goddess. And when it dried and I meditated for the next day, I'm like, that is a man. What is a man doing in my goddess painting? Also a very feminine man. So I'm open to it. But when I saw and
Oh, I
yeah,
see
I do.
this.
Yeah. And then I have progressions of this. So you can see, I could actually see the long beaked ibis in here. And then I went, whoa, okay, well, this isn't any man. And so I brought it through.
Right.
Now, okay, living in Sedona, I'm working on this. And it was over the winter solstice, and we had done with, I don't know if you know Bear Cloud here in Sedona, but we had done, and with Yop that I told you about, we done this big ceremony, and I actually had just paint. It felt profound that this painting was involved in this ceremony. And when I went back into work on it, I okay, let me remember the story. I have an activist friend who was trying to go to the Navajo reservation.
Hmm.
The weather was bad, so she needed to come back, and she asked if she could stay the night. I had the Egyptian Nefertiti on my altar. We sat there in just communion, and she said, you know, sitting in front of this, it makes me feel like sometimes I have too much dark within me.
Mm.
Can I tell you why? I had a dream, and I was in the Great Pyramid, and I was in the below part, and I was witnessing this woman crawl across the floor without legs,
Mm.
and she had been locked in there.
Mm.
And she said, she woke up and she was just absolutely, you know, like how we have those kind of dreams that really hit you strong. The next day, she's watching History Channel, or where they were doing a documentary on thinking they had found the, the tomb of Nefertiti. Nefertiti is here. She's a huge part of this. I mean, Thoth is the supporter. I'm sure he's androgynous as well. But Nefertiti here, she's carrying the emerald tablets up the gate to go through the portal. And so she starts to tell me that she's watching, and then Akhenaten is over here, and I had no clue who he was.
What's his name?
Akhenaten. He was the pharaoh. They were.
So you were pulling all this in without knowing who they were.
No, it actually scared me because in our school history, they teach that he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
And so what I knew of him, which was very little, I was frightened. But when I went in to really search the history, and I don't know if I'm correct, but it helped me like step out of fear, is that him and Nefertiti were the first ones to bring in the idea of a monolithic God. And I don't know if it was he or she, but they crashed all of they made, in where they were used to worshiping, they made everybody crush all their altars and pissed a whole bunch of shit of people.
They sound like light worker rebels.
Yes. Okay. So he passed, she passed, he's waiting for her, but through the Golden Gate, which is the hummingbird is bringing her through, and there's a white owl, and there's a white dragon, and this phenomenal gate. And then so she asked me, she tells me this story, and she said, I said, if this information is coming to you, there's a reason for it. So why don't you just go in and ask?
Yeah.
She came out saying she's asking you to paint her healing.
Her healing.
Yes.
Paint your friend's healing or Nefertiti's?
Nefertiti.
Nefertiti's healing.
So that
was Nefertiti the woman that was crawling on the bottom of the?
Well, that's what was
energetically.
She dreamed it before she saw
it.
it. Okay. Nefertiti in the documentary, she had her legs broken, her grave was
wow.
Robbed.
Yeah.
But the elongated, they were still suspecting that it was her. It makes sense to me because in those days, the Egyptians were so obsessed with dying their whole life. They live about that. So if people were not liking what they were doing, to bury her ancient wisdom with black magic. So there was this feeling, it's pretty wild, but I know, I went into meditation. I'm like, I don't want to go into people's shit about black magic. I've had enough of it in my own experience of my life. And if I'm being asked, I will. And when I went into meditation to actually say yes and go, okay, show me what it was in my studio, they all showed up. Like all of these Egyptian deities, like ones that I didn't even know, they were like, we will help you. So
wow,
this has a lot to do, even though it's like
that wasn't as big as the eye being formed on this.
Oh, they all have like some kind of.
So they all have.
Yeah, they all have something.
So wow, that's just like. So let me ask you. So do you think? I mean, I never look at anything, but specifically. Because usually it's just the universe speaking most of the time, no face to it. But I think the first one happened, God, I can't remember if we were in Washington State like 2 weeks ago or if it happened here, but there was 3, and it had to do with death. It had to do with death, the energy of death. And there was 3 different, and one of them was like Native American, one of them was Egyptian, and another one was something else I can't remember, but something like interdimensional. But that's the first time I kind of like
That's interesting.
started picking up on. Yeah, this was like.
Egyptian, Native American,
Mhm. And then the other one, I can tell you what it
and
is.
cosmic.
Yeah, it
That
was.
is
Yeah, it
that's a
was. Yeah,
triad right there.
yeah.
The Hopis believe that they came from. I mean, some of
That
them.
that. Well, I saw this in this restaurant in Cottonwood down the road
Uh huh.
when I was here a year ago.
Yeah.
There was these paint. Well, I guess they were like paintings or images of these skeletal beings. And my intuition at the time was one, there I'll see him again, which we did the other night when we cleared all the deaths in our cellular, Morgan and I. We had this experience. They came in and I saw them. And again, there was an Egyptian thing to it, and there was a Native American thing to it, but they were like the
Mm.
keepers. And it was, and it very much for me, uh, it was like a knowing or a resonation of like Hopi, Navajo, Blue Star.
Yes.
It was like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
and so, and I'm just wondering, since you've obviously been connected to the Egyptian part of it, and it was brought up by your friend today, Rebecca Magic,
Yeah.
on the show, uh, and obviously in Thunder,
Beat?
she does the Egyptian Sedona tour. So
Oh,
there's
very nice. I
obviously,
know about
yeah,
that.
I saw
Okay.
that the
Yeah.
other day. So there's obviously an Egyptian
Egyptian
Sedona
connection.
connection. I also heard uh, from and I don't know who it was, but it's very reliable. But that there are Egyptian hieroglyphs here.
And yeah.
Okay, so is there, to your knowledge, is your intuition or whatever, something important about the Egyptian frequency coming up now?
Well, I haven't thought about it, but my sense is just as you said it, mm, is is this awakening to the time before the fall,
Yeah,
and so these pieces are beginning to come into more of a
yeah,
collective understanding or
yeah.
belief or something.
Well, yeah, it's interesting too because all this time people talk about Atlantis and Lemuria, Lemuria,
Hmm.
Atlantis, and you think of Egyptians like not the not so distant past, but there's something about it. There's something about it that seems to be coming to the surface now, and I just, of course, everything happens spontaneously.
Hmm.
It's not a coincidence we're talking about it.
Yeah.
It's not a coincidence. Anubis came in
Uh-huh.
when I was here last year, and the first and last
Yeah.
day. It came in 3 or 4 nights ago.
Yeah.
Rebecca's uh, Rebecca's black wolf pet is
Yeah.
named Anubis when I go over there. Um, so there's something going on with that.
Yeah. Well, when I showed this painting, which is the Hopi blue corn, the Hopi legend, blue corn maiden, I at a show years ago, many years ago, let's say 2003. So this is a long time. I imagine this knowledge is more widely known then. But Jerry, I can't pronounce his last name, but he is a Hopi artist that
Mm-hmm.
sells his Kachina dolls here. And he walked into the art show, and I said, Jerry, look at this painting. This is your people, your myth. What's up with the Egyptian theme here?
Mm-hmm.
Because nothing comes into my paintings that doesn't have some kind of and he said, well, it's not widely known, but many of my relatives have been studying the symbology and the within our petroglyphs, and we believe we've come from Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
When he told me that, I didn't say anything because I don't feel like I know what I'm talking about. But when he told me, it felt to me, because when I moved here to Sedona, I also got wham bammed with Mayan
Mm-hmm.
energy, like, whoa. And I don't think they talk about that here.
Mm-hmm.
But my feeling is that when Atlantis went down, if you want to go into that story, they went to different places. And
Yes.
I think there's talk about that, I
Yes.
feel like I learned that probably from one of Hancock or somebody, but I just feel that they're, and also the continents were actually
Well, that's the
probably
other thing I
close
was going to
together,
say too, because
joined
I
at that
know,
time.
yeah, I know,
Yeah,
like if in the Grand Canyon, which isn't too far, I mean,
yeah,
really, there's a certain part of the Grand Canyon that
Yeah.
nobody can go into except for the Navajo, and they call them the ant people, and they say they came from the ant people. So my feeling has always been in regard to, like, we're talking about this now. I mean, we didn't go searching for it,
Hmm.
but now that we're here talking about it, is that like there was some type of underground, uh, you know,
Hmm.
inner earth type of connection to Egypt, and obviously the Navajo have it in their history, and they talk about the deluge, and that's when they went down into the inner earth, and then of course the same can be said for even some of the other tribes and stuff like that. So I just wonder. I wonder if that I've actually wondered this since we went to Shasta,
Yeah.
which was, I don't know, maybe 4 weeks ago. I started getting this whole inner Earth thing, and I'd gotten it before, particularly Antarctica, and then but we went to Shasta, it started
Wow.
coming in, and I think we might have had a little something occur in one night when we were connecting, but it wasn't anything that really stands out. But I just wonder, you have Atlantis, you have Lemuria, now you having this Egyptian thing kind of coming to the surface, and then you have
It
uh,
feels to me like the
inner
pieces of the
Earth. Yeah,
puzzle coming together.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
interesting that you are speaking about in Alaska,
Antarctica.
Antarctica.
Mhm.
Yeah, is then they're beginning to discover some.
Well, I mean, you don't
So
know
they say,
what's,
yeah, I don't
yeah,
know.
you
I
don't know
haven't.
what's real and what's not real.
Mm,
But I would say there's a lot of people out there. I can't name names right now, but I'm talking about like in the level of Lisa Renee or Graham Hancock or just different people. They talk about the builder race,
mm,
the ancient builder race that went into Antarctica, and that's how the story, or this
mhm,
leg of the story, started in a literal sense. And then they have some pictures leaked here and there, but I don't
mhm.
know. I just think that I'm with you. It makes sense that it goes Lemuria, Atlantis, because we know there was more than one go with those, and now the Egyptian thing seems to be really strong because the Egyptian history seems to show a
Yeah,
definite impact by extraterrestrial,
yeah.
star family, whatever you want to call it, seems to show a definite impact, and
Big
uh, and
time.
and that would just seem like that. And there has been people saying that the inner Earth, and this has been over the last few, I'd say last month, people come on the show where the inner Earth family one is ready to make contact, or ready to
Hmm.
integrate.
Hmm. Yeah, I've felt that inner earth energy a lot, a lot, especially here in Sedona where the Montezuma as well.
Yeah.
And that property that I had before with
Mm.
the healing.
Oh, in Malibu.
No, here in
Oh, here.
Sedona, I had a
Mm.
property. It was a healing center. It had the same water as Montezuma as well, and I would go out and meditate and swim and bathe in this. There was a box from the 1800s. People would come in and put their coins in to
Wow.
soak in these healing waters, and it's the same
Where's this?
76 degree in Cornville.
Oh, yeah.
But it's the 76 degrees. I believe it's the same water as 76 degrees
That's
that comes up
where I
in
believe that's where
Montezuma as well.
near where Artie Looking Hawk's place is.
Not far.
Artie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Have you ever been there?
yeah,
Well, he has that sweat lodge, and
yeah.
yeah, that's really cool. Uh, okay, so I don't want to run out of time. We're going to be doing a series. We're going to be hanging out here for another 7 or 8 days. So we're going to
Okay.
keep doing these because we're going to actually, Soulogy is putting footage together. That's all we do. I mean, we've got like over 5,000 hours of footage. But what we're starting to do is, and she's our guinea pig, is to put together a lot of footage with individuals or groups, and then to actually,
Oh, that's a great
go
idea.
in and
I didn't know
edit
that.
it and put it together, kind of like a little documentary. It's something we want to kind of put this template together. So if somebody would like to do something like that, this is something we feel like we would be good at doing. And so anyway, we're going to be doing more of these over the next 10 days. Probably do another two or three of them, maybe four of them. I don't know. We might do some with the phone, and do some more like this. And
That is if we
you know,
don't take off and some ship by the time. The
I'm not
energies
going.
have
I'm
been
not going
really
anywhere.
incredible.
I've
Such an
come this
honor to
far. I
have you
don't
here.
want to go anywhere. I want to stay here. But I do want to. These cards, and I'm not really a real traditional light worker at all in terms of anything I do, really. But these cards, because I work off like feeling and just, I don't know. But these cards are absolutely incredible, and I've seen quite a few people in the audience make comments about them. So for those of you who are live and who come in on the replay, can you tell us like where to find them? And also, I know you're working on a second deck. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, you can buy my deck through my website or my Etsy store. Both of those are mysticartmedicine.com for my website, Mystic Art Medicine. And my website is Etsy store is the same, Mystic Art Medicine. If you're in Sedona, you can get them at the Chocolate Tree, the Crystal Magic, Stone Age in England. If you're there, that'll save you some
No,
shipping.
they have them in England.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And they invest. He invests in Chocolate Tree. Like when I need to reproduce them, I offer, especially the international people, because the shipping is sometimes it's too expensive
Yeah.
for everyone to pay that extra
Yeah.
shipping. If they can get them in a nearby country and do a drive and go get them, whatever. In Europe is great for that, but Canada too, they invested. And then I give them like a really good deal of like $12 a deck. They pay for shipping instead of $20 wholesale, and then they have to pay for shipping over
Mm.
international. My printer like delivers them right too. So yeah, Stone
Wow.
Age
That's cool.
does that. And
So how long have you had these out?
2011 for sure. Love.
I think that's probably my favorite one.
Oh,
And
nice.
so this one's actually really cool though too. That's actually they all are. What am I talking about?
Okay.
I like this one. This one's activations, and it's got the hand in the fetus or the
Oh yeah,
baby.
that came
With
up
the,
the other night.
that's very cool. And so I don't know. So we're
Oh,
gonna,
so the new deck, yeah.
yeah.
I've got well, the fundraiser is over now, but I had fundraiser on Facebook, which
Hmm.
was amazing.
Hmm.
So many people who I don't even know contributed, and like waking up to myself and even more, and realizing that the medicine that I share is way more profound, and people are even wanting to support it. So it's a really beautiful thing. Um, and it was an interesting journey to go through, allowing myself to be receptive of that. Super
I
hard
bet.
for this one.
I bet. But that's
um
good that you did that because it'll make it easier for other people to do that.
yeah,
It will. It'll make it
yeah,
easier. It's been a big deal for people.
yeah.
And so, and how do you just real quick? We'll get more into this the next episode because we're
Okay.
gonna have another episode, and we're gonna have more than one because I want to put the footage together. But so how do you use these? I mean, how would you compare the way you use them to, I don't know, maybe another type of card deck that people are familiar with?
I use them when well, actually, I like to pull one every day
Hmm.
at least,
Can I
unless
do
it's
Can I do one now?
shorter.
So we'll use
Yeah.
me as an example.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when before I actually published these, I worked with a working deck myself. And I would say one morning, and every morning I would pull one card, and it would always feel very profound. Once I pulled like shadow card or fear or something, and I thought, oh, I don't feel this at all. Later on during the day, I had that shadow come up, and because I chose the card, I rode through it more consciously,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
So that's a brief way.
Very cool. So this is the one I pulled. It's called meditation.
You take people through that, don't you?
I don't know, but I
The
feel like
cosmic Buddha.
I feel like I need to meditate, and I don't meditate like that. But like this,
Well, you can
the,
meditate in all kinds of ways,
no, I'm
you know?
just saying. No, no, it fits
Oh,
for me right now
yeah.
because I actually feel like I need to. Sometimes like need to sit down and pull all, everything together.
Yeah.
I guess integrate, but
Yeah.
for me, it's like pulling
Process.
things together.
Yeah.
Like all these things have shown up since Morgan and I got here, especially like the last 3 or 4 days, and it's like, how do you put these together?
Yeah.
How do you connect the dots? So
You take
yeah,
a little downtime, let it process,
yeah,
and meditate
yeah, an
in
hour or
your own
two.
way, whatever that is.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Don't tell people my
Oh,
secrets.
you just went from Rebecca Magic to me. I'm like, man, and he's like giving himself a couple downtime minutes. Yeah.
So this is huge. I feel this is huge, and we're really honored to be a part of it. We're not just doing this because, I mean, as soon as we walked in the door, it was just like, welcome back home or welcome fam or whatever the case was, and the timing's been really incredible, not just here, but with everything that's happening. I know that we're all at the center of that. So it's not just in Sedona, but Sedona's really popping right now. There's something going on. And on that note, I just want to reiterate to everybody that tomorrow, 1 o'clock Pacific time, which is Sedona time, 2 o'clock Mountain time, 3 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock Eastern time, New York City, uh, 9 o'clock in London, 10 o'clock in the rest of Europe, and about 7 or 8 in the morning in New Zealand and Australia. We're going to be streaming live with Cher, Morgan, and a lot of other people from the Sedona area, and some people that are coming in from outside the Sedona area at the Sedona Community Center on Melody Lane. I think I don't remember the address, 2615, I think, Melody Lane, but it's easy to find. It's in West Sedona. Just anybody in the area, in the greater area, please come. We're having a soul gathering. It's not going to be like any type of light worker thing you've ever been to. It's going to be 3 hours of seamless expressions. We're going to have about an hour and 40 minutes that's set aside for spontaneity, intuition, creativity, and imagination, which is probably going to involve, or definitely going to involve, some prominent people in Sedona who are known for what they do musically. Divine Roberts is going to dance. I'll probably do some rap. We'll probably talk a little bit like we do on this show. And we're just going to improvise it and just kind of let it happen and see what happens. So there'll be visuals, there'll be music, there'll be song, there'll be lyrics, there'll be dance, there'll be different instruments. And it's going to be very powerful. We have a lot of friends that you're familiar with that are going to be there. So we're looking forward to it, and we're looking forward to the next episode with Cher. And I just want to say thank you
Oh, thank you
for everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mwah.
Peace out. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Activation.
Medicine art. What is it?
Mystic Art Medicine.
Don't
Thank
leave
you.
it to me.
I'm Cher on Facebook.
Mystic Art Medicine. If anybody needs to get in touch with her, just hit me up.
Thank
if
you.
you don't know. Okay. Take care. Thank you for coming.